Okay, so last night Clay and I finished watching Home, which, oh, sorry, left hand's being really shaky holding the camera. Nope, right hand's being a little shaky too. Anyways, as I had said on Thursday, Clay and I tried watching the movie on Tuesday. Neither of us were in a particularly good mood that day, and we made it 13 minutes in before we said we can't do this shit anymore, let's just stop. This movie is just the way everything about the booth got under both our skins, especially the way they talked. Like I said, they have that Starfire Petra learning English as a second language way of talking, which, like I said on Thursday, normally is something I find really endearing. Like, it's a character not quite understanding, like, sorry, my brain stopped for a second, but like the mechanics of how the language works, trying their best, trying to kind of fit in, and it's something that's really sweet. Here it's like, no, this is just, A, it's their entire race, so it's not just one person. 2, this is just how they talk. It's not like, oh no, we're now just learning how English works because I've now met a human being. It's, no, this is the language you guys use daily with each other. And it just annoys me the way you use it. Why? Why are you like this? The fact that they show up, immediately just like start kidnapping people, throwing shit away, like they're just very unlikable. I don't want to root for you. I don't want to root for any of you. What the fuck is this shit? And so, but yesterday, both of us were in a far better mood. Clay had a great day at work. I had a good day at work. I did watch the Northern War finale, which fucking sucked, but So Much for Stardust came out, and I really, really liked it. Episode 1232 of Pokemon, which I know I've had my differences with Aim to be a Master of Journeys as a whole, but I really liked the finale. It hit me right where I needed it to. And I got to talk about John Wick 4, which was fantastic. So I was in a good mood. I was ready and raring to go. And we were able to finish the movie as a result. And now that I've finished the movie, I can say this is the bottom of the fucking barrel with DreamWorks. No questions asked. Clay and I have marathoned all the Pokemon movies, at least all the ones that were out at the time, which was all the animated ones and then Detective Pikachu. Since there have been a couple added, like the Zarude movie, which I haven't seen yet. But we did all the Pokemon movies, and the bottom of the fucking barrel was Genesect. All the Pixar movies, which for me, the bottom of the fucking barrel is, it's The Good Dinosaur. For him, it's Brave. The Disney movies, for me, it's Home on the Range. For him, it's Frozen 2. And then I did, with Jose, the Ghibli movies, to me, which does not have a bottom of the fucking barrel. Earwig and the Witch, the worst one, no question. But it's not quite that bad, but I think if it was another 20 minutes longer, it probably would have been. I bring all of that up to say, not only is Home the bottom of the fucking barrel for DreamWorks, it is the worst movie I have seen in any of these marathons. I say it with a straight face, no cap, no bullshit. I hated watching this. I hated that I said, I have to finish this. Because it's not just, I was in a bad mood, so I had no patience. It was, wow, this is abysmal. So let me talk about the things I didn't hate. Rihanna's character, Gratuity Tucci, which, okay, I hate her name. I don't know. There's something about it that just sounds so weird. Like, your name is Gratuity, so, like, your name is a kind of tax for a service. Like, that's all I can think of. You're like, that's weird. It's like, yeah, my friends call me Tip. You named your child after a form of wages that, honestly, I don't think this country should have anymore. Just pay people more. Like, I don't want to have to pay a tip. I just want to pay for my food and leave. But I feel bad doing that because the waiters don't make enough. Just pay your waiters enough. Like, if it even makes my food a little more expensive, which I guess you could maybe argue that it would kind of balance out anyways, but I don't know. It just, like, I would rather them get better wages. That's what you named your daughter after? What the fuck? Like, it's, like, even, like, the thing I like about the movie, just still kind of fucking weird, but she's I think she's likable enough. I think what I like about her is how she can't stand our main character. Like, hey, me neither. There's literally a scene where, like, she duct tapes him up because he was gonna, like, steal her shit and leave. He's like, I was not going to. I don't even want to try an impression of him. It's gonna give me a stroke. Like, it might actually cause me to start bleeding from my brain. If you start seeing any blood coming from my nose while talking about this, I was gonna say, like, let me know, but it's not gonna help. I guess leave a comment and say, bro, you're having an aneurysm, stop. But there's a scene where she duct tapes him for stealing her shit, then unduct tapes him, and then every time she, like, rips a piece off, he, like, screams in pain. And I remember literally telling Clay, I was like, can you rewind that, please? Like, there was, like, a couple times where he got injured. It's like, please rewind that. I need this. This is the only consistent joy I have in this movie, is seeing him in pain. Like, I sound horrible saying that. Like, I sound like some fucking sadist, but wow, it is literally every time he talks. It's the way he talks. It's his voice. Like, I'm sure Jim Parsons I think that is his name. I'm sure Mr. Bazinga is a wonderful person. I remember watching an interview with him on Ellen, like, a few years ago. I mean, not a few years, like several years ago. And I remember thinking, like, this guy's really funny. He's entertaining. I don't know, because, like, I don't generally find his voice annoying. Maybe it is just everything he was saying. Maybe it's the design of the character, like this weird Play-Doh thing. But it's just every time he talked and the way he talked, it just irked me. It just made me not want to do this anymore. The fact that all the boov talk like that, just that word. Like, I just hated how it sounded. Like, a consistent thought in my brain was, this is the kind of movie you throw on for your kid to get them to shut up. Because they'll look at the Britty. This movie really has given me a stroke, I'm sorry. All the pretty colors. They're like, it's called Bust a Lime. They shot him with a burrito torpedo. This movie's good, Mom. Like, I'm sorry if you genuinely like this movie. I'm not trying to be like, yeah, you're a fucking stupid child and you should be ashamed of yourself. No, if the movie worked for you, the movie worked for you. There's things that worked for me that I know a lot of people would find really fucking stupid. I won't lie, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I know there are several examples. Like, I love The Room. Now, granted, I mean, it's The Room. It's a stupid movie. It's supposed to be a stupid movie, but I love it. I think it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. I could easily see someone watching Zoolander and going, no, this is too stupid. I get it. It works for me. I think it's hysterical. Tropic Thunder, I can easily see someone saying, no, this movie is too offensive. It's kind of why I love it. Like, same with something like Blazing Saddles. There are some things that work for me that I understand if they don't work for other people. And if Home works for you, it works for you. Maybe you liked the way they talk. Maybe you did find it endearing. Maybe you actually got into the story because, like, what they're trying to do isn't bad. Aliens invade the planet, basically relocate all of humanity to, like, one place in Australia, or maybe there's a couple human cities, I'm not actually super sure about that. And so a rogue alien who doesn't really like his people, it's like he's a fuck up, so they want to erase him so he doesn't keep making mistakes, teams up with a human girl who wants to just find her mom, and they go on an adventure and travel the world trying to, fix his mistake and also find her mom. And as they go, your main alien learns at one point, he's like, like, our captain told us what humanity is, what you people are. That sounds like, what do you mean, you people? What do you mean, you people? And I love Tropic Thunder. Anyways, he told us about human beings, that they were non-violent, they were just animals. Not, like, super feral, but people that needed us. Like, they weren't advanced enough. And now that I've met you and I've spent some time with you, I feel like, yeah, there are some things you can learn from us, but there's things we can learn from you as well. We, the Boov, are not superior to human beings. We can be mutually beneficial. And on the one hand, I'm glad I've learned this lesson. On the other, it means my captain was wrong. At worst, he was incorrect. Or excuse me, at best he was incorrect. At worst, he actively lied. And I don't know how to feel about that, because now I have to question him. And if I'm questioning my captain, maybe I really am a lost cause. And him going, I have conflicting emotions, because on the one hand, I don't want to be erased. But on the other hand, maybe they're right. I have made so many mistakes. I'm literally the cause of a potential alien invasion. I'm scared. I'm scared of what I've potentially caused, but also of what I might cause in the future. And I don't know what to do. There's a really interesting movie here. But it's also a movie with the, I am waving my hands in the air like I just do not care, and him like twerking and, oh God. No, God didn't make this. God isn't responsible for this. We were made in the image of God. I don't want to know what they were made in the image of. The captain reminds me a lot of King Julian, and just like the way he talks, he's not Sacha Baron Cohen, he's actually Steve Martin. I generally really like Steve Martin. But it's like the way he talks, the way he carries himself, the way he acts. It's essentially King Julian 2.0, but not the funny one. So I didn't like him. And yeah, there's just a point in the movie where it's like, oh yeah, our captain had a peace meeting with the Borg, but he sensed that something off was gonna happen, so he ran away and also took some of their shit, and then he left. So like, oh, so that's why they're chasing you. It's because they just want to collect their shit back. Fucking assholes. You're like, oh, but the Boov are givers, but the Borg are the takers. Or no, sorry, the Borg, that's Star Trek. That's something good. What do they call them? Gorb or some shit? The Gorg? I think that's it. It's the Gorg. It's 2 G's, not a B and a G. And then you find out later that, yeah, the Gorg have been tracking you because you stole their shit. And then you find out what the shit is. That it was their entire next generation. That the Gorg that's been following them is the last of his kind. And this was like the genetic information and it's like the fucking hatchery of the rest of his species. And without it, he was not only alone, he was extinct. Gee, no wonder he was pissed off. Wow. Your entire, it's like, yes, like, I don't want to blame their entire race for the actions of just the captain. But again, it's like, they're all just so aggressively unlikable. And there's a scene where he's asking all, like, the big brain Boov to help him with shit. And their brains are just, like, their heads are their fucking bulbous noggins are rippling. And I felt sick looking at it. It's just, and it's not, like, a funny gross. It's just a gross. And I don't even think it's supposed to be that gross. Maybe it is, but, like, for me, it's just, like, this is so unpleasant to look at. It's just so aggressively unpleasant. It's so aggressively unfunny. And the fact that it's every time the main character opens his mouth to say something. I said earlier, it's the kind of movie that you put on for your kid to get them to shut up because they'll just laugh at the dumb shit. But I would not want my kid watching this. Because I know what would happen. I mean, again, not that I actually have a child to have watched. I can't be like, I know my kid. I know what's going to happen. I'm like, no, I don't have one. But if I did, I could only imagine they would watch the movie. If they're at, like, a particular age, if they're, like, 12, they're probably going to be like, Dad, why? But if they're, like, I don't know, like 8 or something, I'd be like, oh, this movie's really fun, it's really bouncy, look at him dancing, look at him twerking, listen to the Rihanna songs, etc., etc. Then they'd probably start imitating it. It would probably imitate that way of talking because as a kid, that's fucking hilarious. They would probably... I don't know, I think that's the big thing they would imitate. I don't think they would start, like, actively fucking with my shit and be like, see, Dad, I'm turning your car into a hover car, blah, blah, blah. It's just, ugh. Oh. Sorry, now I'm just imagining having a child talking the way O does, the way the Boov does, and it's like, oh no, I already just feel annoyed and exhausted. Like, no, please read fucking Dr. Stone, get a love for science, watch Nausicaa, be inspired by that shit, be a fucking warrior princess who's all about compassion and learning and science and shit, and also is willing to kick ass. Don't learn from this. Don't do this to me, please. Please, fictional child that I don't have and possibly never will. But to me, this is the worst one. There have been other movies that we have watched and said, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I remember we paused Home on the Range after like 20 minutes and said, there's a fucking hour left. I don't know, man. But we got through it. We paused Home after 13 minutes. And then I remember there was a point later in the movie where we paused it. We're like, there's still an hour left. How? And then later, like, we're only halfway through. How? Yeah. There's nothing else to say. There really isn't. I don't even know if I've said anything of substance because I don't think this movie really has anything of substance. Like I said, I think there's a good movie in here, but it's weighed down by its own unlikable bullshit. Where, yeah, I actively hate it. It is currently at the bottom of the list for DreamWorks, and it was so bad, so unpleasant to watch. I cannot imagine there would be something worse. Now, looking ahead, I know there's a Spirit 2. I don't want to watch it. We will, but I don't want to watch it. I know there's 2 Boss Baby movies. Like, none of those 3 films sound pleasant or like something I'd enjoy. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Like, I'm going to go into them with an open mind. Like, when it's actually time to watch it, I'm like, you know what? It's Boss Baby. Maybe it's funny. Maybe it's actually like such an insane concept that it's kind of amazing. Maybe the second one is just like, they kind of worked out the kinks of the first one and now it's great. Maybe Spirit 2 doesn't have the annoying in-your-face narration, and it could actually be like a more mature movie, like I wanted the first one to be. Or almost kind of like what the first one was, just marred down by Matt Damon. Again, I like Matt Damon, I just don't think he works in that movie. These movies could work, but after watching this, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way there's something worse. And that sense is what really defines a bottom of the fucking barrel experience. And so now DreamWorks finally has one.